Okay, welcome back. This is MDawg, and we are checking out a new spot for Bream here at Old Berg, and also a spot at Bear, which technically is supposed to give us a chance of gold and tench at Bear, but mostly you just catch a little bit of everything else, with maybe a slight chance of gold and tench, but we'll see. First, let's talk about Old Berg. We're going to go out here sort of straight out to this the newer bridge. I call this the new bridge. I guess it's been here I don't know for how long, a couple of years or something. It's not really new anymore, but it wasn't there back when most of my time at Old Berg was spent. This has definitely made it a little easier to get to certain parts of the map, and we're going to 2727, which is just a little weird spot right here. Not the most obvious spot, but this is where we want to be, and it's a nice little short 8-meter clip. We're using some Bream ground bait here. Let's just double check. Yeah, I need to make some new Bream ground bait I'm seeing. And like I said, 8-meter clip. We'll catch a couple fish here. And then I will also show you my net from an overnight earlier today that we did here at Old Berg in this spot while I was streaming. So, you know, it may not have been the most efficient fishing because I was prioritizing the main account, but I did pull a few bream out here during the evening, so we'll take a look at that. All right, so we've got these in. Let's go ahead and actually throw a few ground bait. We do have ground bait on the first and second rod, but especially when you're fishing for bream. Oh, I forgot we have this. So by the way, I got this West Hill Power Cat, and I got this mostly for the bear spot, but it is pretty fun. Now, I don't normally, so the shortest you can cast this is 10 meters. So this is going to have to be, unfortunately, something we do by hand. But we'll probably end up using that once we're at bear. So let me just get a few of these. Guess we want to go about 40%. 4, 5. Hopefully that'll give us a good jump start. And I think we have our first fish on. And like I said, I'll just show you a few fish here, and then we will move on to bear. There's just something small on here. You know, it's only what 6 p.m. so we are certainly early starting for bream. So let me just kind of update you as we get a little closer to nighttime. That'll be a little more exciting time to see some bream bite. All right, let's see some fish here. It's, I guess, 9 p.m. We're still at that point where a lot of them are not very big, but here in this next in-game hour they'll start kicking in, and on average they'll be a little bigger. We are getting some markers already, and I'll show you we've even gotten some over a kilo already. I think this spot is okay. It's not on fire, but it is okay. Certainly, I think you could get a trophy here. Still trying to cut up pieces of fish so that we have a chance of getting the bait points. But yeah, I mean, if you see here, even in the last 7 minutes, we've had a couple over a kilo. And again, this is like pre-bream time. We're not even into the like heart of bream time yet, which is still coming, but we are using P44. I don't know if I mentioned that. I've seen reports of people using at least 3 different baits for bream here, which just kind of shows you that, like, overall, you know, it's just not settled. Maybe the spot's still sort of settling in, or maybe it won't get any better than this. This might just be what it's at. But for me, at least, overall, I think on average, P4 has probably been the best bet. But I have seen other people using different baits here as well. So you may want to do some experimentation yourself and see if something else feels more consistent. So this will be at least over a kilo, I believe. Yeah, 1.5, and that's the kind of bream you want. And again, it's just now 10 p.m. So we're not going to sit here during the whole time, but we're just now getting into bream time, and we're starting to see the payoff. There's one that's 3 kilo. So, okay, let me get us set up here, and then we will make sure there's no cafe orders, and then just kind of see how we did, and just over a 1 night of bream, and then we'll head to Bear and check out our second and final spot of the day. Okay, so let's see, fish market. Got to figure out when the bream started. Probably, oh yeah, pretty clearly here. So 118 silver. You know, I don't even know if this represents a full night of bream fishing. Again, because it doesn't have my full attention. But, you know, it's decent. I think you could come make some decent silver. This is not one of those spots that's like absolutely on fire, but you could do okay. And it's always nice to have bream spots like that. Okay, let's head to Bear and check out this other spot really quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so here we are at Bear. This is I think the first time on this account that we have fished at Bear. Now we are going to go up to the one of the northern spots, 55, 63. I think it's like, I think it's G4, but let's see. 55, 63. I could be wrong. Looks like it's going to be this way. So I guess we're at least 1 square over from what I was looking at. Yeah, it's right here. So 55, 63. F4, this is definitely one of the 3 or 4 most famous spots here at Bear Lake. And we want to switch this to a classic hair rig. This is the setup that folks are using to try to catch golden tench. Now, you can use large 1 hooks. That's what most people are doing. I've actually been going down to size 4 hooks because I want to avoid as many big carp as I can. But this is the basic setup. And if you've got a bigger setup than I do, then you can really go for this. Then you're okay with the carp you might catch. Now, we're going to go 17-meter clip. And kind of as always, we're casting for this area right here. In this spot, a lot of times you cast sort of right into the weeds, the reeds right there. Now for this, I've been sort of aiming 1 at the end and then the other 2 just to the end of the reeds. But either way, you just want to get the oily somewhere right in that area, or the pellets. On our second setup, we're going to do the same thing. Classic hair rig. Go ahead and get everything adjusted. We're going to stay with the 4 hooks. Double pellets with crawfish, crab and fish, crayfish dip. Get it on 17 clip. And like I said, with this one, we'll aim just to the right of the end of the reeds. That's perfect. Now here's where it gets a little different, because we only have our 2 setups that we can fish for carp. So on our third one, we're going to go to size 22 hook. We're going to put regular worms on, and we're going to feed it. We're going to feed the water with something. Now, I'm actually using something that somebody sent me during the stream today. And this is a very advanced recipe that people were trying to, catch golden tench with. I will tell you though, I think you can just use tench ground bait. And if you don't have that, then, just make it as close as you can, or just use what you can. You're just trying to feed the water. Yeah, you would love to target golden tench, but you're probably only going to catch 1 to 2 golden tench an hour, even on the good hours. So you're also just in general trying to feed the water so you have a good bite rate. All right, so you notice I've bought this Power Cat ground bait little tool here. And what we're able to do with this is load it up with ground bait, and then we can use our mouse wheel to change how far we want to cast, and then it'll go 17 meters every time, as long as we give it enough energy. I'm just going to send 5 of these out here. There we go. We fed the water with some ground bait. We also have ground bait, the same ground bait, loaded on this 3rd rod. And because we're using worm and very small hook, we're going to have a very good bite rate. So that means we're constantly reeling it in and tossing more ground bait out there, hoping to feed the water and get a decent fish. Now, while we have a moment, let's look and see what we have caught here. So I've just sort of kept the more interesting fish from our fishing here today. We did have 1 golden tench, but guess what? Sort of a funny thing here. We actually caught it on worm. Not even the setup we were hoping to catch golden tench on. What's the lesson here? You might actually be best using worms on all 3 setups, because worm has such a good bite rate. You can also put a pretty small hook on there, and then you're just going to catch a lot of different fish species. We did have on the crawfish and crab and fish a black carp. Always fun to catch a black carp. And this one was small enough that we were able to get it in without too much effort. If you go by weight, our biggest fish were a couple of mirror carps up here. Now, if you get much bigger than that on these setups, you're either not going to get it in, or you're going to have to be really patient and tire the fish out, and then you can get it in easily. But it's a pain. It's not very efficient. So just know that if you want to come fish here and try to catch some golden tench or black carp or any other types of fish that are here, you're going to, every once in a while, no matter what you do to try to avoid it, you're going to hook into a fish that's too big for your setups. Again, unless you have bigger setups than I do. And then you just have to kind of deal with it. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes. Hopefully I'll be able to show you a fish or 2 on the pellets, and then we'll wrap it up. But let's see what we can catch here. All right. So let's see what we've got going on here. First fish at 4:30 in the morning, and we won't belabor the point. Again, I'll kind of scroll through and show you what we've caught here. Now with carp, especially if you've got undersized setup like I do, you really do not want to lock up your friction brake. That's a dangerous game. And this is just a little, 4 kilo mirror carp, 5.7, little fella, but not a bad fish, and with the smaller hook size, most of our fish in this spot are gonna thankfully be that size and smaller. There's no way to dodge it. Every once in a while, you're gonna hit a bigger one. And then this is what you love to see, again, on the worm that we're just using to deliver the ground bait. We're actually catching probably the best fish of any of the setups, at least in some way. Now let's see what this is. This has a chance. Yeah, this is a tench. So, every time you catch one of these, you got to think, especially in a spot where a golden tench are active, maybe there was a chance that could have been a golden tench. But here are the fish. I'll just sort of scroll through them. Really, you're catching a little bit of everything here, especially with having the worms in the water. But even on the pellets, I mean, mostly this isn't like the best silver farm, but if you want a chance at golden tench and still catching some other interesting fish as well, it's a nice little spot to kind of ease into some light carp fishing, especially with the smaller hook size. And as you'll see, it's, you know, it's okay silver. It's okay silver. It's nothing great, but just kind of like the Bream spot. We're making a little silver here and there, and seeing some interesting fish. Let's sort it by price really quick just so you can see it. Golden tench and black carp are going to be at the top. Unless they're really small, they're going to pretty much always be at the top. But everything adds up. We'll take it. Okay, so that'll be another episode. You can see how slow the leveling gets at this point in the game. And this is part of why around level 20 is where I typically end these leveling guides. It's only because of this sort of hybrid model I'm doing with fishing a little bit during the stream and then sort of reporting to you about it in the evening in these briefer episodes that I'm able to continue to go. But we have caught a ton of fish, but we need still, I mean, you got to get 0.8 million at this level. And because we're not at Copper or Norway, or, you know, we don't have the gear to really aggressively go towards the bigger fish, like bigger carp or spinfish for some of the more, you know, better XP predators and such, trolling that it's just slow going. But if this is your main account and you're following this, getting ideas, don't let that bother you. This is what this game is about. It is about the grind. And what you're really doing right now is trying to get silver for better gear. The XP really doesn't matter at this stage. Okay, as always, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Tight lines, everyone.